The perfect UX case study. Are you trying to build the perfect UX case study? The gold standard, the one which absolutely gives you the results. See, if you're trying to do this, you might have misunderstood a very important perspective which is actually keeping you from getting hired. In fact, what most people don't realize is that by polishing your case study too much or making it too perfect, you're actually failing the two most important goals of a recruiter who is actually looking at your case study, the scan goal and the scrutiny goal. You can have the most beautiful mockups, a perfect layout, following the proper double diamond process, but what happens is your portfolio will still get rejected. You feel like you're doing everything, but you're not really getting noticed. But don't worry, you're not alone. Because every week I see hundreds of portfolios of designers trying to stand out, and almost all of them are making these same core mistakes. So in this video, I'm going to reveal 7 radical shifts that you need to make in your case study, which will make you more hireable. So here is how you will exactly build your case study, not the perfect one, but an imperfect one which gets you hired. I'm going to use the case study of a designer, let's call her Priya, as an example. So please take a look at this and try to understand what's the problem along with me. See, Priya is a talented designer. She's trying to get a UX design role. She spent weeks trying to perfect every small detail of her case study. The visuals are stunning, the process is laid out logically, and she even said that she followed a popular template in making sure she did not miss anything in her project. But the problem is, she's not getting any calls. She said, I don't understand. My portfolio is perfect, but I keep getting rejected. And honestly, it's a portfolio that if it actually comes at my desk, I will absolutely give it a red flag because it fails the scan and scrutiny test. So let's break this down and let me show you what I'm actually seeing here. The most important mistake, which is probably obvious to most of you, is that this case study is just generic. Yeah, it looks like every other person's perfect case study out there. You know what? I actually call this as perfect adult trap. Because we're taught right from a young age that you need to get 100 marks. That's your only goal. Don't make mistakes. So when you build your portfolio, you need to show the perfect case study with the perfect process out there. But the issue with that is, if everyone is trying to be perfect, everyone looks the same. Yeah, there is no uniqueness. It fails the recruiter's scan goal because it doesn't stand out. There are 50 other portfolios which are exactly looking the same perfect manner. But you know what? This is still at the surface level. The real reason why you're getting rejected is much deeper. Let's get into it. Listen to me carefully. A case study is not a report of a perfect outcome, but it is the story of a messy process. See, trying to be perfect creates a fantasy world. It tricks us into thinking that real design work is clean, linear, standard. But you know what? In real world, it's actually very messy. It's full of turns and it's full of learning. And this leads to the other mistake which designers are making, that is, they do not actively choose to show their losses. Yeah, losing doesn't feel good, isn't it? But the problem is, if you don't show your weaknesses and where you lost in your case study, you look as if you are the most ideal candidate which exists on earth, which is too good to be true. Showing a failed idea looks like a weakness, but something always goes wrong in a project. And it's better to be in control of that story rather than hiding it and pretending as if everything was perfect when you did your project. See, the thing is simple. You need to simply pick where you failed and you have to talk about what you learned from them. That's the trick. But when I told this to Priya, she also had the same doubts which you are having in your mind. She was like, if I show these imperfections, will I not be rejected for those? Let me explain. Many people think showing mistakes is very unprofessional. But you know what is professional? Having your own uniqueness. Yes. Because the bigger mistake, which Priya is also not realizing here, is that the generic case study is hiding her greatest strength, her unique thinking, which is of the real value to the recruiters. Because your unique thinking cannot be really shown in those perfect processes which you are trying to show. It is the reasons, the whys behind all the decisions you have made, the constraints you battled and the fights you fought are the main things which will make your case study look real and professional. This is what a hiring manager wants to see. See, the industry doesn't want perfectionists. It wants raw people with raw potential and who are very genuine and can really impact businesses with that potential. And these real and genuine people will always be able to tell great stories. Yes. Because the problem is, similar to Priya, her case study was also failing the scrutiny goal because when the recruiter looked closer, there was no substance, there was no thinking. It was all like dummy. So, you might now ask me, Anudeep, what do I do? So, here it is. How is it that you, along with Priya, can actually make her case study in such a way that it passes both the scan goals and the scrutiny goals of the recruiter and increases your chances of getting hired? So, now you might ask me, hey Anudeep, then what do I do? How do I not fall into this trap? What changes should I make to my case study so that I increase the chances of getting hired? I have the answer for you. I know this because I spend days looking at what makes a designer stand out, and I see hundreds of portfolios and I do hundreds of reviews. And I'm starting to see massive shifts which really swings the pendulum of where the hiring game is headed. So here are 7 biggest shifts that you need to make in your case study right now. And these are going to be the same exact things that will make your case study from a boring report to a very, very engaging story. From process steps to decision stories. The first biggest shift is to stop organizing your case study by process steps like research, wireframing, ideation, UI design. Don't do that. So your action item here is to structure your case study around 3 most important decision stories. What is a decision story? A decision story is a small story about a specific tough choice that you have made while you are organically working on your project. Something like, why did you move that hamburger menu? Why did you actually change the card? How many iterations have you actually made? And why did you make those iterations? Small stories of the things which you have actually done in your project are actually known as decision stories. You need to really understand that recruiters are actually hunting for these decisions which you have made. This is what they're actually looking for, because this is exactly where they'll find your thinking, the thing which they want, so that they get the confidence that you will think in a similar manner even after getting hired. Let's go to the next shift. From generic titles to newspaper headlines. Stop titling your case studies as Finance App Redesign. That fails the scan goal instantly. Your action item here is to think like a journalist. Be specific and intriguing. Title it like Designing an Automatic AI Budget Analyzer to Reduce Financial Anxiety of Young Earning Adults. A title like this makes a recruiter curious. It hooks them in and they will want to know more. From screen dumps to a guided tour. Stop dumping all your final screens in a grid. You know what? Instead, create a short video which talks about one of the most important flows for the users. Present it like a journey. Talk about every emotion and every action which the user is trying to take while you're trying to present it. Imagine it like an Apple's demo whenever they show you new updates. Because when you take the recruiter on a guided tour, it is far more engaging and it clearly shows what your thinking is, and they understand your product and the design like a story. This is what every company will really value, because they will understand whether your vision can align with their vision and thinking or not. From final mockups to showing iteration archives. See, you need to show your ugly versions. You need to show those iterations. Those bad looking screens, those rough wireframes need to be shown, not just the final UI alone. Because you need to understand one thing about storytelling. See, if you watch a Rajnikant's movie, you will see that there is a scene where he's trying to flip that 1 rupee coin to show that he lost everything. And then from there, he goes to a very, very powerful person. That is what great storytelling does. You need to show what was wrong, what was flawed, what did you decide to throw away to showcase where you finally landed, showcasing very good meaning behind all the work and effort which you have put. And this contrast between where you started and where you ended is what makes your story very powerful and proves that you have a growth mindset, which is very, very important when a company tries to hire you. From isolated research to embedded research insights. You need to stop putting research as its own boring section. It's really boring to read, let me be honest. Mainly because nobody can understand research by itself without the relationship between what happened in the research to what was the result of that research. So what you do over here is to weave your research backwards from what was the result visual which you had actually made. This presents research with the right context of what was the final result. What you do is show a screen and then use annotations to point out this decision was made because this is what actually came out in research. This can prove that at times when it is required, you will also make good research backward decisions. And you know what? Because of this, you will actually pass the scrutiny test of a recruiter as well, because when you do this kind of linking, they can see the complexity of your thought process and they'll be willing to hire you. From waiting for perfect to using what you have. Stop waiting for a perfect project to build your case study. Many people do this mistake. They wait until they have done all the known processes on earth in their project to start writing their case study. And they always have this excuse that, hey, you know what, I've not done research. Hey, you know what, I've not done the final UI. Hey, you know what, I didn't build a design system. No, this is a big misconception. You can write your case study from whatever you have done in your project, because that is what real UX designers actually do in real companies. Your action item is to take whatever you have right now, however messy or incomplete, and take it and build stories, the imperfect stories, the Rajnikant stories from that, and present it. And these stories will really showcase your raw and genuine thinking and not present you as someone who will always wait for the ideal situation to start your work. The advantage of this is in every company, they cannot hire people who will wait for the perfect circumstances. They need people who will always understand the ambiguity of a situation and who will start giving solutions from that point onwards. From corporate jargon to your raw voice. And finally, a very important shift. Write in your own authentic voice. Stop using that formal jargon just to sound like a professional. Because a real professional doesn't sound like that at all. Again, remember, being perfect using those jargon words is not unique because everyone is trying to do that. Your imperfection is the only thing that will bring out your uniqueness. Write just the way you actually speak. Use your own language. That will really make you stand out because every case study out there shows that perfect English which has been corrected with some AI tool. But if your case study showcases your language, your imperfection, people will instantly recognize as someone who has written very genuine stuff. So if you do all these things today, your case study will turn from being a perfect one, which is very generic, to a messy one, very imperfect one, which is very unique and presents yourself as a very genuine person who has a great potential to be hired. So remember these final takeaways. Make sure you showcase your messy process. Your messy imperfections is your real story. Make sure that is clearly seen. And always showcase your raw thinking through your decision stories and not just the final results. So the next time you're trying to build a case study, give yourself the permission to be a little imperfect because your imperfection will bring out your uniqueness. And that uniqueness is what will help you get hired. So if you love this video, please hit the like button out there and please share the video to anyone whom you think needs to get these perspectives today. Stay subscribed and I'll meet you again with a lot more stuff coming on this channel. Student for life.